In a small town like this, where we've been here for a long time and I guess pretty well known in town, I decided that there's no point in trying to make a secret out of this and just not let anybody know about this thing called Alzheimer's disease. My name is Tom Birkey, and for all intents and purposes, I'm a retired physician, a general practitioner, or now they call them family practitioners.
Dr. Tom Birkey moved from a Milwaukee suburb, Wauwatosa, to Richfield, Minnesota when he was about 7 years old.
I got an old family album to show you my hero, who was my great-grandfather, Sherman Ballard. He's my beard model. Yeah, you might say it that, yeah. That's what got me into liking history, and especially history where the farm was and why they came there in the first place. I've pretty much done my Swedish and my German history, but my English history I still got to work on. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that I have the memories or some of the papers that are down there to do it.
But having the photos helps trigger.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Birkey graduated from Washburn High School in Minneapolis in 1954, and from there moved to pre-med, then medical school at the University of Minnesota.
This was our whole fraternity together. And what will this be? Oh, yeah, this is my University Bachelor of School of Medicine, class of 1961. And I'm somewhere here. And then after that, I said I was in the Navy as a naval flight surgeon for 2.5 years. That picture is when I was in the Navy yet.
No beard.
No beard then. But I've had one ever since 1970, so.
But Dr. Birkey's true professional physician's passion was to work as a small-town general practitioner, a small-town doc. This dream stemmed from time spent visiting his grandparents in Flag Center Township.
Yeah, I need to go back to about when I was 11 years old. Flag Center is where I spent some of my summers. Flag Center was about half the size of Watson, I would say. I mean, it's a really small place, but I loved it.
Dr. Birkey has two distinct memories, two encounters with the small-town doc in Rochelle, Illinois during his visits to his grandparents that inspired him. One when he got a fishbone stuck in his throat, and the other involved a rotten apple fight where he caught a piece of foul fruit with his eye. Typical kid stuff.
I was kind of glad that I did have a bone in my throat and apple in my eye, and I had that experience, and I'm not sure up to that point that I knew that I wanted to be a physician, and I knew that I wanted to be living basically in a small town environment.
Dr. Birkey was also one of the first to host medical students from the University of Minnesota's Rural Physicians Associate program. He's dedicated his career to educating and advocating for rural physicians, for the health of the people in the community, and for the health of the profession. And now, Dr. Birkey is embarking on the next phase in his healthcare journey. He suspected that he was developing Alzheimer's disease in early 2022. Dr. Birkey and Doris Thompson have been married since 1997. Viewing this journey as a care partnership is important to them, making sure they're doing things like eating healthy and exercising for both of their benefits, for example.
We'd both been talking about it before the diagnosis was made, but I'm learning to be, I'm patient about this because I would want him to be patient with me. So I try to keep that in mind, that I listen and I can repeat it, and I can repeat it and I don't get upset or well, don't you know, that kind of stuff. I don't do that at all, because I don't want to be in that position myself. So I can feel what he's feeling.
Main thing is memory, and that's I worry about that because, at least in my life, I'm sure I've had a couple things that were not fun to go back and dwell on or anything like that, but mostly I have happy memories. And the idea that someday, as I'm not going to be able to pull those up into my mind, and for sure almost, I won't be able to talk to somebody else about it. There was a time when I could I could say, well, that's a Beethoven, I'm quite sure, and then I could probably say, I think that's Beethoven's fifth or sixth, or something like that. And I was pretty good with identifying birds too, and I could say that this is trees, yeah, trees particularly, yeah. I could name a tree by looking at its leaf and looking at its bark. This is a
tree.
A what?
You call it catalpa. I
Catalpa.
call it catalpa.
Yeah.
See, it's getting all those beans.
Yeah. And this is an ash tree over here.
This tree here is still doing okay, even though it lost that great big part of it.
What is that? Is that another ash tree?
That's an
No,
ash.
that's a with a rough trunk. Oh, yeah. Now I'm losing it. This has a real rough trunk on it, and the head it lost part of the
Box elder?
box elder. Yeah.
Being a care partner is being solicitous of them.
Dory said that she's the most proud of Tom for being open about his diagnosis and approaching it as he approaches learning about tree types, gobbling up as much information as he can about Alzheimer's disease and how to live well. But Dory has been the same, going one day at a time, learning as much as she can, being honest about what she's still working on, and making sure to take time to take care of herself.
Gretchen has a care support group. And I think we pick up really good things to know.
I'm Gretchen Reeves. I'm a speech-language pathologist, and I work at CCM Health, but I specialize in working with people who have dementia because it affects their ability to recall things and to communicate. In dementia, people have not only difficulty with memory, but they also have difficulty with language. So they might have difficulty finding words, stringing words together to make a complete thought, staying on track in a conversation. So those language deficits also negatively impact a communicative interaction with people. So one of my big jobs is to educate the people around the person with dementia and help them understand how they have to change, how they interact with the person with dementia.
One of the main things that we have had to change is to be more direct in our conversation and our needs. I'm learning to be more direct, and I'm not putting in 3 or 4 or 5 different things that need to be accomplished.
One of the services that CCM Health offers is, it's called the Dementia Care Partner Support and Education Group. It's a group designed specifically for the care partners of people living with dementia. So they come to a support group once a month at the CCM Wellness Center. And I feel like you're a better care partner the more you know about the disease. Then we have MAMLIN, the Montevideo Area Memory Loss Network.
MAMLIN is a group of healthcare providers who work with people living with dementia and their care partners. Reeves participates in MAMLIN as a member of the CCM Health Memory Care Clinic. The clinic offers speech pathology and occupational therapy assessments, plus a medical appointment as an alternative to the traditional neuropsychologist or neurologist dementia diagnosis, which can be hard to find in rural areas.
But what we like about our process is if there is a diagnosis made, they're just not pushed out the door. We stay in touch with those families over time because as the disease progresses, the care partners' needs also change.
The hardest part is when I need to say something and that I think needs to be done. And it might just be me thinking it. You know, maybe Tom doesn't feel that way at all, but I'm feeling like I don't think that you need to wear this holy sock today. But it's just Tom's choice, and let it go, and I can let it go. And I think that's a skill you learn with people who have Alzheimer's, and you're the caregiver, is that does it really matter?
I think it's important to talk about dementia as a whole in our community because we are aging. And right now, if you look at the statistics in Chippewa County, Lacopar, and Yellow Medicine, there's approximately 650 people living with dementia. 10% of people over 65 have some degree of dementia, and almost 50% of people over 85 have dementia. So the more we understand the disease, the more the public is aware of early signs, you know, and getting a diagnosis earlier so that medications can be attempted, so that families can be educated on how to best support that person, the better.
I'm not sure that all my memories will be wiped out, but I'm reasonably sure that I'm going to have a hard time necessarily talking to somebody else about it in any detail about I was doing this in college or taking that kind of course, or then I met Dory and that sort of thing. I'm not sure that that's going to hold up my memory.
It's just a journey. It is a journey, and every day is, we think about it, and we don't look too much into the future. It's just, let's live our days, and mostly through our marriage, we've sat at breakfast and we have said our grace and counted our blessings. So we do what we can, and that's another thing we say, help us to do the best we can with what we are able to do. And so that keeps us in a more positive mode for the day. And so I just think we're doing well with it.
Most of the time, like, these are not the socks I started out with today. Because not that I was afraid about you seeing that little hole in the one that I took off, but I knew that it bothered her.
What you didn't know, Hetty, is that I'd let it go.
But before, but you had let it go. But I after that I still went up and changed my socks.
I know.